Microsoft CEO says tech giants battling for content to build AI. TikTok is reportedly testing a paid ad-free version of its app. FEMA's National Emergency Alert rings phones, TVs, and radios this coming Wednesday. Apple has stopped offering support on a lot of third-party apps. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran. I want to welcome you to episode 1696 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, October 2nd. This show is sponsored by GoDaddy.com and supported by listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. We're lit. We're live with apps from podcastapps.com. Join the value for value revolution. Earn Satoshis just by switching to a new modern podcast app. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all brand new listeners to the show. Thanks for being here. Make sure that when you're on the website at geeknewscentral.com that you follow or subscribe to the show. At the same time, sign up for a newsletter. That way you get all of our shows delivered directly to your inbox immediately following the show. Of course, you always can join our chat room at geeknews.chat, or you can email me easily at geeknews@gmail.com or on X at geeknews, or just follow me on Facebook just by searching for my name. All the shows, all our partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com. Be sure to check those out. And of course, this show is sponsored by the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. That's our good friends at GoDaddy. Want to make sure you know this is where savings begin. Where is this coming from? Oh, this is very strange. All of a sudden, I'm hearing audio from somewhere, and I don't know where. What is going on? Okay, this is... My mobile phone started having a conniption. I don't know why it started playing. That's the first time that has ever happened on a live show. I thought it was coming from the browser. That's crazy. All right, so GoDaddy. You can save large. You can save large by going over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. That is where savings begins. I wonder if something triggered the voice activated version of the podcast or of the phone. But hey, when you get over there, this is what you got to do. You can get a brand new .com for just a penny. Just a penny. If you want to sign up and get an economy hosting plan, $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $2.99 a month to manage WordPress hosting for the first year, again with a free domain, or a free trial of GoDaddy website builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. This again is where all savings begin. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Grab yourself a domain name, grab yourself a hosting account, or you can get that website builder, that free trial of GoDaddy website builder. Again, that personal, business, to business plus plan. That's a 1 month free trial. All these deals lock you in, allow you to save a lot of money, start something new, get an online website going, something that can help you build your business or something personal. Get out there and do that. It's time to take back control. Just don't have a Facebook page. Just don't have a Twitter page. Just don't have something on Instagram. Do something for you. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Well, that was weird. Very, very weird. All of a sudden, I had voices talking here. And I was listening to No Agenda on the way to work this morning, and the phone was laying face down. I didn't touch it. So I have nary a clue what happened. Wow. Well, the Podcast Awards show on Saturday went well. There was no hiccups. The nominees and awardees were announced. And we inducted or brought 30 new shows to light, or 300 plus, I guess. And of course, we had our podcast picks of the year, podcasters, our influencers, along with and it was one of these unique awards that we started last year. That, and be honest with you, it's designed for influencers. So our 2023 podcast influencer of the year and our 2023 listener influencers, I guess it should be influencers of the year. And some of these were solo individuals. Some of these were podcast shows. Some people were in the industry. So it's a very interesting to see the delta spread between the podcast influencers and the podcast and the listener influencers. So anyway, the full list, definitely check these shows out when you go over to podcastwords.com. There's a whole stack of great shows over there for you to subscribe and listen to. So as for those of you who are watching the show, I don't know if anybody after that last hoorah with me here a few minutes ago, No Shave November is early. I started a week ago, starting to feeling okay. Someone that I saw told me it makes me look old, and I thought, well, that's the first time someone said that. So it was looking kind of scruffy. So it's not in and looking neat yet. So that's a big part of it. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all had a great weekend. Mine, and I'll be honest with you, this morning I had a heck of a time getting out of bed, getting motivated. I got into work, had another cup of coffee, and finally the day kind of kicked through here. But today was a rough one to get started. But interesting, our lead story tonight, Microsoft. The CEO says that the tech giant is battling for content to build AI. Satya Nadella said Monday that tech giants were competing for vast troves of content needed to train artificial intelligence, and complained Google was locking up content with expensive and exclusive deals with publishers. Now, testifying in a landmark U.S. trial against its rival, the first major antitrust case brought by the U.S. since it sued Microsoft in 1998, Nadella testified that tech giants' efforts to build content libraries to train their language models remind me of these early phases of distribution deals. Distribution agreements are the core of the U.S. Justice Department's antitrust fight against Google. The government says Google, with some 90% of the search market, illegally pays $10 billion annually to smartphone makers like Apple and wireless carriers and others to be the default search engine on their device. And he said that artificial intelligence took computing power, servers, and data to train the software. On servers, he said, no problem. We're happy to put in dollars. But without naming Google, he said it was problematic if other companies locked up exclusive deals with big content makers. When I'm meeting with publishers now, they say Google's going to write this check and it's exclusive and you have to match it, he said. So this is going to be a big war. And so we'll see this antitrust with Microsoft and the Justice Department. I mean, with Google, and then, all this stuff that's going on with search and content. They have to build these large language models on language. We'll have a story a little later about what Facebook is doing, and you shouldn't be surprised on what they're doing with their language models. But, if Google is spending billions to lock up data and not allowing other companies to build language, again, the bigger is going to get bigger and no one's going to be able to compete. So we'll see what happens here over time. Now, TikTok is reportedly testing a paid ad-free version of its app. Android Authority has screenshots of TikTok prompting users to select between staying on the free version of the app with ads or upgrading to an ad-free experience. According to the screenshot, some users have the option to pay $4.99 a month to not see ads. Now, and a test of ad-free tier comes as TikTok is working aggressively to diversify where money comes from. TikTok Shop, the platform's in-app marketplace, has been moved to the main navigation bar for some users, and the company's been pushing ads and coupons, hoping to entice them to make a purchase. Already, the platform has struggled to moderate its shop offerings, where a review by Insider found users could purchase items banned by TikTok's own rules, including homemade foods, adult toys, and vitamins. So we'll see. We'll see where these tiered go. So now it's not just television and stuff. Now it's going to be apps. They're looking to take more money out of your pocket. FEMA's National Emergency Alert Test rings phones, TVs, and radios this coming Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The test will appear on all consumer cell phones and in either English or Spanish, depending on the language you've set, as well as radios and TVs. Unlike the national alert that went out in 2021, you cannot opt out of this one. Every cell phone that's switched on within a cell tower's range and using a participating wireless carrier is supposed to receive it. So we will see. FEMA says that this test will ensure the system continues to be effective, meaning a means of warning the public about emergencies, particularly those on the national level. So legislation in 2015 requires FEMA to test this at least once every 3 years. The test will interrupt a phone call when it hits. It will be accompanied by a loud tone and a message that reads, "This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action is needed." The test will only be broadcast for 30 minutes. So if you don't want your phone to start blaring, turn it off. It should do the trick. So we will see how this goes at 2 o'clock this coming Wednesday. Apple has stopped offering customer support. Now, on apps, external apps, I didn't know they did this. As an example, Apple will no longer provide customer support on X, as spotted by Mac Rumors. When you try to send a direct message to Apple's support account, it now instructs you to visit the general support page on Apple's website. The account will similarly respond with an automated reply for any message you send it after asking the account about an issue with an iPhone 15. Apple support replied saying, "It sounds like you have an issue with your iPhone. We can help you, but to provide the best support, we'd like to continue this conversation in another support channel. The message will also include a link to Apple's iPhone support page." So this change means that Apple support will no longer provide an individual assistant to customers who tag companies in posts. Instead of replying with a prompt for customers to privately message the company, now refers them to the Apple website. Now, Apple planned to eliminate 150 social media support advisors who help customers on X, YouTube, and the Apple support community forums. Now, this was supposed to go in effect on October 1st, as Apple since swapped out the description of its Apple support account on X to reflect that as of today. So it's very, very interesting. I did not know that Apple provided support for external apps. It kind of surprises me just a little bit. Switching gears here, in an upcoming FTX book, and I don't know how this really makes news or what, any way to get some publicity, but Anna Wintour, and I didn't know who she was either until I looked her up, wanted Sam Bankman-Fried to sponsor the Met Gala, but he had no idea who she was. And this is something that came out during the Vogue. I mean, during this interview, or basically this leading up to this book's release. But I guess Anna Wintour is from Vogue. And, but during an interview, basically he said that, he didn't know why he wanted her to, him to sponsor her event, because he's, has been reported to be the worst dressed billionaire at the time in existence. So, anyway, just kind of this weird stuff coming out about Sam Bankman-Fried as we get ready to go to trial with him. Also, there's a weird mix of content tonight. And the one thing that kind of surprised me was it almost appeared like it was a day for op-eds. And there's an article over on PC World saying companies need to kill off this invasive kind of privacy policy. And Elena Yee says, "Let me ask you, When you receive an email with the subject line updates our privacy policy, do you open it right away? And I think for the most of us, that answer is no. Well, apparently she got one from Patreon. And she said, I read it instantly. I hadn't even intended to since I was in the middle of something else. I suspect I subconsciously processed this key phrase from the message. Community features that transform how fans connect. Now, any company that has got our personal information that wants to build a community feature, you think about community features. Community features are usually profiles with information about us. It appears that Patreon is going to be making more information about you public. They're going to be showing who you support financially. And a lot of other new things that they announce that they're going to do because they basically want to build a community. They want to, but this is an interesting, as she says in her title of this article, companies need to kill off this invasive kind of privacy. So what it's really doing is once private profiles are now being opened up and details can be seen about you on Patreon, that couldn't be seen before. So they basically say, hey, we're basically going to open up your profile. So my advice to you is keep an eye on these types of things and make sure you go over to Patreon and set your privacy levels the way you want because you can opt out of some of this stuff. But I think that it's important, if you're supporting causes that you're behind and all of a sudden those causes are made public, it depends on who you are and the way we are with cancel culture. Maybe you want to be supporting someone and be anonymous about it and not have that information out there. So this is an interesting move by Patreon. So make sure you definitely check that out. Canada's CRTC requires podcast providers and streamers to register with the Canadian government by November. Well, we're not registering. We're not a Canadian company. And also there's some misinformation out there. You have to have at least $10 million in annual revenue as a company to have to register. So I think podcasters should be cautious in going out there in registering anything with the Canadian government until the details are made very, very clear. We're not, we're not beholden to Canadian laws. DJI Pocket 3 leaks suggest a long-awaited video camera is close to launch. The DJI Pocket, I've got one. I've used it quite a little bit over the years, and I think I've got a version 1. But the source of several new Pocket 3 images, including close-ups of its camera module and larger screen, seem to answer some of the issues people had with it. Basically, it was hard to manipulate, really. It really was kind of challenging. You have to hold it very carefully and use your hand. But, the Pocket cameras did pretty fabulous. It's got a very nice stabilization system. It's small. It's not very big. It's not as big as a GoPro. And so we'll see with the Pocket 3 coming out here, if it's going to come out soon, what the price is going to be. But great little blogging camera for sure. Tesla announced they produced over 430,000 vehicles in third quarter 23. And according to the report, that's fewer vehicles in quarter 2 of this year, but a 25% increase over quarter 3 of 2022. And the company remains on track to produce 1.8 million vehicles this year. And Tesla missed a target on production and delivery set by Wall Street. And Tesla says it report quarter three earnings on October 18th. And probably a few people looking to get updates on the Cybertruck and so forth. But again, as I talked about, my rental with a Tesla did not enthuse me to go out and buy one. Data theft is now the biggest worry of IT admins. Forget about ransomware. Data theft is the biggest concern. A survey from Integrity 360 found that 55% saw data theft as their number one concern, followed by phishing at 35%. Ransomware only came in third at 29%. Said they were worried most about this type of cybercrime, or that was the ranking of the cybercrime. And a business that loses data risks losing clients, of course, due to tarnished image, risk loss, profits through disruption, so forth. But, I think if people are maintaining good backups on their platforms, if they have a good backup plan, yes, you're going to be having some challenges. But whenever there's ransomware that comes out, if your backups are good, you're probably going to weather it okay. Otherwise, you won't. A rare Nintendo 64 controller to sell for around $1,200. So this amazes me that these types of things that are out there that people are buying, adding to their collections. Individual discovered the controller gifted to him from his birthday back in 1988 was in fact a rare Fox Data gamepad. The controllers came in Desert Storm, Red Rain, Purple Forest, and Chrome Leopard varieties, and are now highly sought after by collectors. So if you've got one of these laying around, it might be worth some serious dollars. But there is an auction that's going on, and it's up to about $1,200 so far. Humana AI summarizes and answers questions about your PDFs. The platform launched in February with former Labelbox founder Dan Ramson joining as CTO. It's gained traction, processing tens of millions of pages of files, growing into a user base of millions. It's secured $3.5 million funding from investors. Their mission is to empower people and organizations to make smarter and faster decisions by being able to ask questions across all their files. And it's an exceptionally simple in its execution. True to the premise, the platform simply lets users ask questions about their files, namely PDF files, and get answers. Users can upload one or more PDFs and ask questions across them. He says customers include not only academics, but professionals in law, oil and gas industry, and customer support. Basically, they're able to get summaries and so forth of their articles. Now, so that's interesting, and so I guess they've really honed in on this specific kind of a feature. But anyway, check them out. According to KLCC.org, October's annular eclipse over the United States begin at the Oregon coast. On Saturday, October 14th, an annual solar eclipse will make its North American debut on the Oregon coast. We're excited that the eclipse will first make landfall at the Oregon Dunes National Recreation Area. And she said a good section of the coast from just south of Lincoln City to the base of Bandon will be in the path of the annularity. There, the sun will appear as a brilliant ring, nearly but not completely eclipsed by the moon. So definitely check out what's going to happen for you and where. And again, it all depends on where you're at. And of course, if the sky is clear. Here's another one of those commentaries. The Space Force should safeguard U.S. interests on the moon. And this is an op-ed. Talks about the potential for conflict beyond Earth is coming. And this individual does not believe that the United Space Force has got a good mission statement. And so he comes to task with the mission and statement that they make. The term, and let me see if I can read what it says. Secure our nation interests in, from, and to space. Well, in space means the moon, right? So, and again, it's believe me, this is what Space Force is going to do. They're going to be looking at all this stuff. But do you think they're actually going to go to the moon and set up a base? No, not at all. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Do you play Zelda? A Zelda player was awarded with 10,000 gold, with a 10,000 gold trophy for completing the KFC-sponsored speed run. Inspired the secrets of 11 herbs and spices that constitute the recipe KFC's original flavor chicken. The competition required players to complete a bizarre challenge within the Legend of Zelda tier of the kingdom. Rather than asking airmen to do battle with the game bosses or collect one of the title's best weapons, the challenge was instead on gathering a KFC-inspired list of items. So someone got themselves a $10,000 chicken-shaped gold trophy. Gold-plated, obviously. So, anyway, we play a game of Zelda. I don't even know what that game really is. NASA its telescope has photographed 2 objects in space. NASA's Hubble has spotted 2 astronomical objects merging into one, approximately 465 million light years from Earth. This is a new one. It's called the 44XQW8D galaxy, where one is basically in mid-collision. So link will be up in the show notes if you want to go look at more details on that. NASA's New Horizon probe has scored an extended vacation. Good news, more science. Bad news, somebody has to pay for it. NASA's New Horizon spacecraft, which performed a flyby of Pluto in 2015, is being granted a mission extension to 2029. Its fuel may run out by 2030, but it's basically starting in 2025. The probe will focus on gathering heliophysics data while preserving the opportunity for another Kuiper Belt object flyby if a suitable candidate is detected. So they got an extension, but they don't know how they're going to pay for it yet. NSA hopes an AI security center will help U.S. outsmart, outwit, and outlast adversaries. So NSA is trying to head off trouble by opening an office to oversee development of integration of AI capabilities into defense and national security systems. Discussing the move during a meeting hosted by the National Press Club, NSA Director General Paul Nakasone warned it is crucial for the U.S. to maintain leadership in AI as the tech continues to develop. He claimed the U.S. government might currently lead in this field, but its continued leadership cannot be taken for granted. Our adversaries, who have for decades used theft and exploitation of our intellectual property to advance their interests, will seek to co-opt advances in AI and corrupt our application of it. So the founding of the AI Security Center comes after NSA study that identified the securing of AI models from theft and sabotage as a major national security challenge. So not surprising in the least. Tom Hanks, though, has called out a dental ad for using an AI likeness of him. He posted a warning on Instagram stating he had nothing to do with the ad. So this is a deep fake. And this warning he shared, alerting his followers to this. But he basically said deep fakes offer a major issue. Now, if you look at the picture of him, it doesn't look really real. And he basically said, I don't have anything to do with that. I wonder if he's got legal opportunity to shut this down or not. But he's talked about these deep fakes for a while. So someone used him in this advertisement. This is going to make you laugh. X is now suing a subleasee for unpaid rent. The irony is the complaint cites defendants as claim X did not even pay rent for such a period. So basically, the company they're suing, X is being sued for not paying rent, and X is suing a company for not paying them rent in the same building they weren't paying rent for. Last year, the company called Atlas negotiated early termination of a lease, which required it to pay $1.1 million early termination fee and several months of rent. But X says they haven't forked over a dime. So, interesting. Everyone's looking for money. Also, AI deepfakes spread disinformation in Slovak elections. One video shows a conversation in which Slovakian Progressive Party leader Michael Semika appears to discuss vote buying from the Roma minority with a journalist, which expert deems synthesized by an AI tool trained on a sample of the speaker's voices. Technical democracy research group Rest of Raw Freedom said, with the example from the Slovak elections, there's every reason to think The professional manipulations are looking at these tools to craft effects and distribute them in a coordinated way. So again, deep fakes, and this is probably what's going to happen during our upcoming election. I said earlier in the show, I would talk about how Meta was using its AI language models. Well, Meta says its AI trains on your Instagram post. Admitted last week that it used mountains of public Facebook posts to train its AI. Why it matters as AI boom continues, content creators are challenging tech companies' use of the material and the development of tools. And in Facebook's case, content creators mean a few billion people. And last week, President of Global Affairs told Reuters that the majority of the training data used to develop them came from public available posts, including those on Facebook and Instagram. He said, we try to exclude data sets that have a heavy preponderance of personal information. So a massive legal battle is going to be brewing here. Meta has always claimed a variety of rights in the content of its user posts, so locally it's in a different situation than companies that are using copyrighted text because they can use your content. It's all in the terms of service that none of us read. Google Chromebook Plus is Google's new certification for premium Chromebooks. They've introduced Chromebook Plus. This certification is meant to help shoppers identify high-quality Chromebooks to buy, much like Intel's Evo program. Chromebook Plus branding will be awarded to laptops that meet a set minimum requirements. The idea is that even a shopper is not familiar with PC specs can see the Chromebook Plus label on a product and be assured that Google thinks it's a good product. So it lists a set of specs that a Chromebook must have in order to get the label. Link is in the show notes. Humane is another AI company. It's showing off its futuristic AI pin wearable. So, in case you missed the hype, Humane is a startup founded by ex-Apple executives. The AI pin uses projectors, cameras, and AI tech to act as a sort of a wearable AI assistant. Now the company's unveiled the AI pin at the Paris Fashion Show with the supermodel Naomi Campbell as the first person outside the company to wear the device in public ahead of its full unveiling on November 9th. So there's a YouTube video about this that you can look in the show notes to see and get a look at. Money, money, money. Billionaire investor Bill Ackman said he would be absolutely interested in a deal with Elon Musk's X. And basically, they've just raised a huge fund, $1.5 billion, to basically invest in companies that want to use a special, it's called a SPAC, I think is what it's actually called, to help companies go back public or raise more money. So anyway, a link is up in the show notes. Businesses, and we even do this at Blueberry from time to time, we go through and look at the software that we're paying for on a monthly basis. Sometimes things slip through, so it's always good to take an inventory of what you're using and what you're not, and make sure you're not spending expensive reoccurring fees every month. And probably the weirdest story of tonight's show is this one. It's called a sneaker PC. And it's a little bit bizarre. You get an Intel Core i7, 13,700K CPU, an NVIDIA RTX 47 GPU, 32 gigs of memory, 2 megabytes of storage, and a liquid cooling system. It's all wrapped up in a bright, garish case shaped like a chunky sneaker of all things. And they have some higher level versions of this as well. It looks ridiculous. It looks like a tennis shoe. I don't know how big it is. It's just weird. Let me see if I can get the size of this thing. How big is it? Oh, they're not inexpensive, about $6,000. Anyway, if you want a sneaker PC for your desk, and you have more money than common sense, you can definitely check that out. Interesting, bear attacks in Japan have been rising at alarming rates. So the city of Takagawa, about 570 miles from Tokyo, installed a robot wolf as a deterrent. The robot wolf was originally designed to keep wild animals from farmlands, but is now being used by local governments and managers of highways, golf courses, and pig farms. Has red glowing eyes and protruding fangs. And it's basically emitting a menacing roar. So this is curious. Now, apparently, the design is based on a real wolf that roamed part of the Asian nation more than 100 years ago before it was hunted into extinction. So no picture was provided, but anyway, fake monsters to scare away bears. The royal family's website was targeted in an apparent Russian cyber attack. The website was down for an hour and a half by apparent denial of service attack. And this was retaliation, quote unquote, for the king's Ukraine support. So 90 minutes and they were able to disrupt it. Poland wants the European Union to stop sleeping on digital IDs. They say, we've been moving forward in Poland on digital IDs. I don't know why the EU is being slow. So they are trying to push the EU into digital IDs, which basically could be in your mobile app. Instead of having to have a physical ID, you actually have a digital ID, which is good until someone steals your phone or whatever the security measures are in place. But digital IDs seem to be something that they want to continue to push. Apple's working on a fix for the iPhone 15 overheating issue. It blamed it on iOS 17 bug in certain third-party apps. They said, we've identified a few conditions which cause the iPhone to run warmer than expected. The device may feel warmer during the first few days after setting up or restoring it because of increased background activity. We've also found a bug in iOS 17 impacting some users and will be addressed in a software update. Another issue involves some recent updates to third-party apps that are causing them to overload the system. We're working with these app developers on fixes that are in the process of rolling out. The apps in question include Uber, Instagram, Asphalt 9. Meta has already released a fix for Instagram, so it's worth checking if you need an update. Lyft driver takes off with a cat. Yep, someone was going to the vet with their cat, and apparently this kitty cat was basically lost for a long time. The Lyft driver says, hey, the cat's not in the car. There was all kinds of stuff that happened. The news got involved. There was Lyft got involved later. So they did find the cat. There was flyers being posted, physical locations. Lyft said messages all the Lyft drivers. And but apparently they finally found the cat. In the wee hours, the police found the cat on a set of stairs near a realtor's office. So cat is in recovery. But make sure when you're getting out of a car, say, hey, I'm grabbing my stuff, dude. Do not drive away. That's always very important. Always tell, if I have stuff in the car, if I have a bag in the back or anything, this is always say, hey, I'm grabbing my stuff. Don't leave. Of course, I've had car drivers try to run me over before, too. Didn't get out of the car fast enough, then back up and almost hit me and so forth. But be careful in these vehicles, all right? They are not all professional drivers. All right, folks, we've been lit live today. And, of course, we want to continue thank you for your support of GoDaddy. My contact email is geeknews@gmail.com. I'm x@geeknews. Definitely consider supporting our sponsors. Consider becoming an insider at geeknewscentral.com/insider. We thank you very much for your ongoing support of the show. It's greatly appreciated. I'll be back here Thursday for another edition of the podcast. You all take care. Have a great week. And be safe out there. And we'll see you next time. Everyone take care. We'll see you. Bye-bye.